I thought, again, some good work. All training camp, we haven't been challenged by the weather and the elements and the heat. So to be able to come out here and practice, you have to practice in the elements you're going to play in, and, checking with the weather in Norman. It's going to be about 111 degrees on the field, or even hotter, at 11 a.m. So to be able to come out here the last couple days and preparing it, obviously you have to be smart, you have to take the precautions, but we got a long way to go. We have a long way to go with our mental disposition, our mentality, and everything is new now with classes. You're in an in-season schedule. So many things have changed. A lot of these individuals, just like training camp, it's their first or second lap around the track. So you need consistency and continuity in your schedule. But still not anywhere where we need to be in execution. Defensively, we're being out-leveraged too much for big explosive plays, not placing our eyes where we need to be, just the small fundamentals and details. And really, it's the overall focus of what it takes to play winning football. Offensively, kind of the same thing. We have 9 individuals doing the right thing, 10 individuals doing the right thing, and then one individual makes a mistake, and like we say, one wrong, all wrong. I think that's when, we've had some speakers come in and talk to us, and that's the thing about team accountability is if one person doesn't do their job, none of us do our jobs. And so I think it's everyone having more determination and having more awareness and being more self-determined with everything that we do, from a toughness, from a preparation standpoint, from a mentality when you step out on the football field. I do think we've made strides this week, but we're nowhere where we need to be game ready. My expectations for this team are very, very high, and they're not being met yet with everything from leadership to still the way we practice, the physicality, the situational football. Are we getting better? Yes, but we are no means a finished product.
How do you feel like?
Go ahead. I'm sorry, Karen.
Sorry. How do you feel like this team did just from a focus standpoint with the start of classes this week and the change in schedule and the environment?
I think it's ongoing. The disappointing thing yesterday in practice, we went to team, is we already have our installation in, and we had 14 mental errors, missed assignments at the end of the day, at the end of the practice, and that's just nothing more than executing in the fourth quarter. They've come, they've worked, from an effort standpoint, but I think it's the overall ability to focus. And as we all know, when school starts, it's a whole nother learning experience. You have to learn how to manage the clutter and the distractions and the time management, and all that goes into it, and I think we're continuing to still learn.
We just talked to Jacques Cross. How much has he grown, since last season,
He's grown by leaps and bounds. Not the same player when he came here, and I think he'd be the first to tell you, and it's amazing, is this is a young man that started a couple games as a true freshman in the Big Ten, and he wasn't anywhere where he needed to be from a maturity standpoint, both on and off the field, from a physicality standpoint with his body, from weight and understanding the expectations of how you work every day, the mentality, and he's been great. It's been really fun to see his growth and his development. The one thing he has is he has competitive character. He's extremely competitive, is a playmaker, wants the ball in his hands at critical stages, critical junctures of the game. And he's matured immensely, and excited about his growth and his development.
In terms of the quarterbacks, notice Stroud took most of the 1 reps. Are you kind of leaning towards that direction in terms of naming a starter?
Well, we still haven't named anybody, and again, it's trying to balance the reps out as we go. And so I think that the way we practice, it doesn't count down on anyone, it doesn't take away from anyone's reps. So again, we need all 3 individuals to continue to grow and develop, just like sessions like this that we're going through right now of developing our younger players. As we know, the football season is very long. You're going to have adversities come your way, and there's individuals right now that may not make the trip to Oklahoma, that by game 4, 5, 6, 7, something happens and they're in the starting role. So to be able to have development sessions after practice is big. But in terms of the quarterback, we'll continue to evaluate that. We'll take this weekend, really compile things. I have some outside individuals that I trust in the coaching profession that, is kind of evaluating their practices as we go as well.
Coach, what do you think is maybe the biggest, and concern might be too strong of a word, but biggest concern of where you are now versus where you want to be when you got a real game in a week and a half?
I think mentality, making conditioning to our factor. Football rewards those who are in great condition, both mentally and physically. We're going to have a lot of individuals playing for the first time. So, when you get and you play in front of national television and you play in front of people, does your demeanor change? It shouldn't. That's why we try to make practices harder than games. But I think I'll know a little bit more where we're at after the Oklahoma game, and then we'll know even more after the Memphis game. It's always your identity kind of reveals itself probably after the first 3 or 4 games of the year. That's really kind of who you're growing to become. That's kind of who you become. So I'll know a little bit more as the season progresses.
As far as the running back room, going back to that a little bit, just how good do you feel about that, and how many guys do you really kind of expect to use in a rotation in the first
You can never have enough running backs. That's a position where it takes a high level of durability, and you're getting hit on every single snap, whether it's pass protection, running the ball, running routes, ball faking, a lot that goes into it. We're nursing some injuries there, so we're going to need to get some individuals back. But I like the depth that they have, and I think the other thing of having a complete running back core is having different skill sets amongst that position group, and we have that right now with those individuals.
What's the focus on Friday when you go through the mock game?
Everything, every substitution, every little nuance that can happen at the end of the game, situations during the game, from a center when his helmet comes off, to a center going down with an injury, to kickoff return after a safety, after a 15-yard penalty, what happens when we have 10 guys on the field for an extra point field goal attempt. All the little things that really focus on the discipline of your football team, making the coaches make decisions. So really trying to create everything that can happen within a game situation.